Today we've got a pretty interesting experiment to run. I've recently come across something which I think could be pretty revolutionary. I haven't seen anyone talk about this, and some of the claims on just how much battery it can save were really rather impressive. So as you can probably tell, what we're talking about here is making the display monochrome, which is different to every other battery saving technique. It doesn't involve lowering resolution, it doesn't involve lowering the brightness. This is completely different. You might also be aware that there's actually a grayscale feature built straight into the settings of the iPhone X, and some people have claimed this works just as advertised. And these dark mode features, as they're commonly referred to, are quite a well-established way of saving battery on AMOLED displays, showing as much black and as much grey as possible and as little colour. Unfortunately, this process on Android devices requires unlocking the bootloader, rooting the phone, and installing third-party applications. Luckily for you guys though, I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then we're going to run a side-by-side comparison. One phone running the monochrome mode, the other one not doing it, and we're going to see if it's really worth doing. So we've got ourselves two identical phones here, so you can differentiate. One of them is the sandstone white OnePlus 5T, and the other one is a brand new, fresh out the box, midnight black OnePlus 5T. Same spec, same battery, same everything. Both of these phones have had no more than 2 full battery charging cycles, so no chance for the battery to deteriorate. Alright, so the rooting process itself was actually a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. It's not completely simple, but a lot of the guides online will pretty much take you through it individual step by step. And the process takes about an hour to an hour and a half. You then boot the phone back up, install the Monochrome application on the Play Store, I'll leave a link down below, and we're pretty much good to go. Alright, here's where it gets pretty clever. The way standard grayscale applications work is they simply apply a color filter on top of your current colored display. So in effect, they are constantly running in the background and not technically speaking saving you any battery at all. Monochrome is a little bit different. It works on the GPU level to mean that your phone is only processing colors in grayscale. It's not a case that your phone is processing every color and then just a grayscale filter is being applied on top. However, to make sure it is actually saving you battery, the company have configured monochrome so that it only activates when your phone hits the low power mode. If you were allowed to configure at what percentage you wanted monochrome to activate, it would mean the application would constantly have to run in the background to monitor when the phone hits this stage. Alright, so as promised, we've got a side-by-side comparison now. So we've got two identical OnePlus 5T phones. The one on the left is the midnight black version, unrooted, no monochrome application installed. The one on the right is the sandstone white version of the phone, which does have it. We started both phones off at 50%, and as you can see they're both still in full colour. The monochrome hasn't kicked in yet, and will probably activate at either 30%, 20% or 15%, depending on at what percentage OnePlus counts the phone to be on low battery. And so the idea here, what we're really trying to achieve, is to run identical applications on both phones in order to try and drain their batteries equally. And we would expect, until the point where monochrome turns on, both phones will drain at exactly the same rate. And upon reaching this point, we may start to see a divergence, depending on, well, whether or not monochrome works. So we've now launched one of those extreme battery waster apps, which, yes, is not representative of day-to-day activity on the phone, but until we hit the point where monochrome turns on, it doesn't really matter, we're just trying to get the batteries down. Right now, at least, the phones are almost neck and neck, but not quite. The Sandstone 5T, the one which is rooted, the one which has monochrome installed, is actually lagging a little bit behind in terms of battery. It's about 0.5% behind the Midnight Black one. But that level of slight variance is to be expected. Even when a company is making one particular smartphone again and again, there will be slight differences in actual battery capacity. Okay, so monochrome is now turned on, so we're going to try and do realistic things which people might do on a day-to-day basis, like the Play Store, like internet browsing, like watching YouTube videos, and we're going to see how the battery is affected. And so far so good. After barely 5 minutes, the monochrome seems to have pulled ahead. Slightly, but the difference is present, and of course this has just reversed the trend that we saw previously, so something's happened. We're going to try opening the camera now, again something people do tend to use pretty regularly, and interestingly enough, even though the display is monochrome and it's working at the GPU level to create that monochrome effect, you can still take colour photos. After we give the phones another 15 minutes of just having the internet browser open, the Grayscale one pulls a little bit further ahead. We've now got a 2 percentage point gap between the two phones, which, considering we started off at 15% in this monochrome mode, is quite a large difference. Not too much longer into this internet and video binge session, the coloured display OnePlus 5T calls it a day, whilst our Sandstone white phone is still hanging in there with 4%, which on the face of it sounds like a subtle difference down to margin of error, but let's do a little bit of maths here. Assuming both phones hit 15% at exactly the same time, and that the Grayscale phone had exactly 4% left when the coloured one had hit 0%, this would mean the Monochrome app has actually saved us about 26.7%. When you think about the magnitude of that number, getting an extra 26.7% battery life whilst you're in this phase, that's actually quite significant, and to a certain demographic definitely justifies the effort of rooting your phone. A couple of things to bear in mind though. This is only going to work on your phone if you've got an AMOLED display. The whole process of rooting your device in order to install Monochrome is going to void your warranty, so that's a risk you do have to weigh up with the benefit. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button down below if you did. My name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'm signing out.